AI Tinkerers Barcelona. I'm here with Kristian Wilson, Chief Operating Technology Officer from Channel Capital. Welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to our Structured Finance Hackathon.
Thank you for having me.
So at this hackathon, we have some teams that are building some, hopefully impressive prototypes in a short space of time. In your experience, what is the biggest gap between an AI prototype and something that is actually safe to be deployed in a regulated financial environment?
Yeah, so these hackathons are fantastic for proving out concepts determining where to invest further. But the reality is for a prototype to go into a production environment, the failure states need to be thought about and really understood and controlled. When you're building these things quickly in a hackathon, it's about, can I achieve a little bit of success? When it's being used day to day to actually power decisions in a regulated environment, we need to understand how this will break and be able to determine that it has broken. And then there's all the other things about moving something from prototype concept to production ready, right? Observability, error logging, governance, access control, all of these things that you don't need to think about in a hackathon. So it's the typical challenge really in software in general, which is it's very easy to put together a prototype. It's very difficult to productionize that prototype in a safe and maintainable way.
Yeah, so it starts with a bit of fun, and then when we start scaling, that's when it gets a little bit more serious.
Yeah, and the reality is the more people you bring into contact with the product, the more things that you find are wrong. We joke in technology that typically the problem exists between the display and the keyboard, which is the person. And the reality is you just don't know how these things will be used when they're in the wild. And that process is always harder than everyone thinks.
Sure. In practice, where do you see human oversight remaining essential in AI-driven financial systems? So at the input stage, the decision stage, or rather the monitoring stage?
Yeah, this is an interesting question that I think the whole of the asset management industry is struggling with in terms of, can we deploy completely humanless agentic systems? Channel's kind of standpoint on this at the moment is that we'll never remove a human from the loop in decisioning. And that's because the current generation of AI, LLMs, are prone to hallucination and will claim to be very confidently right when they're wrong. And that's just a balance of the probabilities, right? So we don't see a point with the current generation of technology where we'll take a human out of the loop in terms of decisioning. Where we see they'll add enormous value is exceptions spotting and then escalating to someone to review. And we also see the potential in terms of taking away some of the mechanical work that people do in terms of like data prep and things like that. But the reality of the scenario at the moment is that LLMs require oversight, and that will always be a human.
That does lead quite nicely into the last question. So the single biggest bottleneck today in deploying AI systems is that rather in the data access, system integration, model governance, or the organizational resistance? Where do you think it lies?
So for Channel, it's definitely not organizational resistance. Our team is very keen to use AI, and actually it's been difficult to kind of control shadow AI, which is where people are bringing their own licenses or using services outside of kind of our approved services. We've got good governance in place to control that, and that's been interesting. There's a big push for people to use these tools. It's very exciting. The biggest challenge, there's two sort of challenges that we faced. One, we're an organisation with an 18-year track record, 19-year track record. We've got 19 years worth of data. That data is stored in various data sources. It's not cleaned. It's not tagged. There's probably some security by obscurity in terms of data somewhere that someone's forgotten about. That is a huge task to clean, tag, permission that data
Yeah.
so that it's available for AI and really unlock the value of our AI investments. So we've gone down the route of effectively building a safe island where we can put the data that we want to be accessed by AI and make it available. So legacy data is a huge challenge, and it's a huge challenge for everyone. The second part is governance. AI is moving so fast that even the frameworks that are being kind of implemented and designed are out of date when they land. So ISO 42001 is being revised this year to take into account the changes again. That's a standard that's only 2 years old. And then there's always regulation coming in across the whole spectrum of all of the territories we operate in. So regulation is going to be challenging for us, particularly if it fragments. The European AI Act is a good thing for us, but we could be facing having to deal with regulation in every territory that we operate in. And that will prove challenging in terms of ensuring that we meet the regulation, which will probably be along the lines of explainability, observability, and understanding where decisions have come from.
Okay, great. Kristian Wilson, Channel Capital, thank you very much.
Thank you.